Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I'm going to talk about two offensive line free agents. One player is coming in to visit the Raiders today on Thursday. Another player is actually I talked to his agent about the possibility of him joining the Silver and Black. We're going to look at the Russell Wilson contract, and then at the very end of today's show, the Raiders actually cut somebody bright and early this morning. So let's talk about the top story here, and maybe one of the top reasons why you clicked on today's video. Joe Haeg, is he coming to the Las Vegas Raiders because they are hosting him for a visit? Now, it's no secret. The Raiders need extra help on the offensive line. Nobody's going to dispute that. And some of y'all, because even for me, I was like, you know what? I don't know how many people are actually going to know who Joe Haeg is. So he was a 5th-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. He has 6 years of playing experience with 40 career starts. I will say, though, he does have only 5 starts in the last 2 seasons. He started his career off with the Indianapolis Colts. Then he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then last season he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if there's one thing that I really truly believe Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler look for, winning culture. They want people who buy in. They want somebody who looks at not just themselves, but the bigger picture. And I do think a lot of times winning is contagious. And yes, I get it. He won 5 national or 5 FCS championships with North Dakota State. But you know what? With a young team like we have, if you're in one of these big-time games, you're going to look at some of those veteran players that maybe have been there before. He won a Super Bowl in 2020 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As far as I'm concerned, this guy has been on plenty of winning teams, whether it be in college or NFL, and having an extra depth piece like that, I do think it can go a long way. Now, in terms of where exactly he would fit on the offensive line, one of the other key words that we always say here on the Raiders Report is versatility. And in his career, he has played at literally every position on the offensive line minus center. He's gotten snaps at left tackle. He's gotten snaps at left guard, right tackle. For me personally, I view him more as a guard, whether that be on the left side or on the right side. For the Raiders' case, obviously that right side of the offensive line is a little bit more of the eyesore. If you want to know what he did in terms of PFF grades, well, luckily you're in the right place. Last season, 307 snaps, an overall grade of 67.5, a pass blocking grade of 74.8, a run blocking grade of 55.1. What about some of his snaps from last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Again, 307 snaps, 1 penalty. He allowed 3 sacks, and he did allow 1 hit. At the end of the day, I'm looking for depth players, but I could also make an argument he has a legitimately good shot to at least get some starting reps. He's one of those dudes that reminds me a little bit of Jermaine Illuminor, where if you hear the name, the average fan's not going to be blown away. But if you give him a chance and he can get some reps in there, he does provide some depth for the Raiders. So here's the question on today's show that I want every single person who comes across this video to watch or to answer. I'm going to make it the pinned comment. So what does that mean? It means it's going to be the very, very top comment on the video. So please let me know why for yes and for no should the Raiders sign Joe Haeg. Maybe you say no to that, and the only way that I might say no to him, because I do think he can help out the team, is if the Raiders show some interest in young offensive lineman Tyre Phillips. And I actually spoke to his agent yesterday about the possibility of him joining the team, and Tyre Phillips' agent said that yes, him and myself would welcome him to Las Vegas. Now, the exact quote that his agent gave me was, Tyre would definitely welcome the opportunity to join the Raiders. Really enjoyed his time out there while at the Pro Bowl, obviously in Las Vegas, with his best friend, Jeffrey Simmons. I'll tell you what, there's a way where we get Phillips, and then we could also get his best buddy, Jeffrey Simmons. I'm on board for that, no doubt about it. Obviously, I'm kidding with that, but he was a 3rd-round pick in 2020. He has 13 career starts, and in 2020, he played 296 snaps at right guard, 122 snaps at right tackle, and then last season with the Baltimore Ravens, 347 snaps at right tackle, 42 at left tackle. All I see there is that we have a person who could potentially come in and help out that right side of the offensive line for the Raiders. In terms of his PFF grades last season, and he battled a few minor injuries, 389 total snaps, an overall grade of 53.1, pass blocking grade of 63.1, run blocking grade of 42.0. From a numbers standpoint, 4 penalties against him, only 1 sack allowed, and 3 hits. I will say I went back, I watched the tape. I like this kid. I think he has some high upside personally with a offensive line coach like Carmen Brasillo. If you believe in him, this is a good project considering the fact that he was a third-round pick. And again, some extra depth there for the Silver and Black. Here's the thing, though. I talked to his agent again later on, maybe like 2 hours later after my initial conversation with him, and he told me that an AFC West team, one of the general managers, actually reached out to him. I'm not allowed to reveal who that is, but it is an AFC West team reached out to Tyre Phillips. So speaking of the West, who you got? Who's going to win it all? The amount of people that I've seen not pick the Raiders, hell, The Athletic, which we all know is filled with a bunch of phonies, literally didn't pick not a single writer pick the Raiders to win the AFC West. So how about this, y'all? If we get 10,000 views on this channel, I want to see 10,000 LVs. If we get 20,000 views on this, I want to see 20,000 LVs. If you rep that Silver and Black, if you rep that Shield, spam LV down in the comments. Now, what's the easiest way to prove it? Put your money where your mouth is. I grew up with that. My dad used to always say, hey, if you're going to talk the talk, you better learn how to walk the walk. And here's your opportunity to not only walk the walk, but put some money in your pocket. Go to chatsports.com/Raiders. Promo code Raiders125. It's going to get you 125% deposit bonus. That means if you deposit $100, you get $125 for free to bet with. You want to know a good bet? Betting on the Raiders to win the AFC West at plus 600 odds. If you put $10 down, you win $60. You want to put $100 down, you win $600. My favorite bet that I like to make, Derek Carr MVP, parlay that with Raiders winning the AFC West. It's a lot of money because honestly, I think if one happens, the other's going to happen as well. Remember, y'all, it's chatsports.com/Raiders, promo code Raiders125. Now, I know that this is the Raiders Report, FDEN, but you know what? Anytime something happens in this division, which is by far the best division in the National Football League right now, we're going to talk about it. And bright and early this morning, the Denver Broncos, they paid their quarterback, Russell Wilson. He agreed to a 5-year, $245 million extension with $165 million guaranteed. Now, Wilson is the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL at about $49 million a year, and he is tied to the Denver Broncos for 7 years. So my initial reaction was, man, that's a lot of money to pay a quarterback just to finish last in the AFC West every single season, which then some Twitter troll was like, oh, well, Russell Wilson has beat Derek Carr the last 2 times. That's right, but I'm not talking about D.C. Last time I checked, this is a team sport, and if you want to look at the numbers, last 4 times the Raiders went up against the Broncos, 4-0. What about the last 7 games? 6-1. If they start calling themselves the Denver Russell Wilsons, that's fine. They can go ahead and do that. All I know is this. The Raiders the past few seasons, Derek Carr has dominated Broncos country. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Can I get an FDEN in the chat right now? Let's get it going. Well, I woke up. I got a message early in the morning from Matthew Peterson, who was our Broncos host, and he's like, Mitch, you better get up out of bed right now. Don't worry about feeding Chuck. I need you to help on this Broncos video. I'm a good person. I helped him out. But come on, y'all. I need your back here. Let's get some FDENs in the chat. Now, before I head out of here, there was a little bit more news that happened. Yesterday, the Raiders released their practice squad, and at the time, they had 14 out of 16 players on that squad. Now, today, they have only 13. Unfortunately, he was a player that I liked, absolutely was a project, but Bam Olaseni, I can never get his last name right, that's why the nickname's just Bam. He was released this morning, unfortunately, 6'7". He's got a lot of upside, but unfortunately, this Raiders coaching staff couldn't quite get him to fit in a 2022 UDFA. I wish him the best with wherever his NFL career leads him. Now, before I leave you all today, friendly reminder, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications because if anything happens whatsoever around the Silver and Black, we're going to make a video. If the Raiders sign Joe Haeg, going to get you a video. If they sign Tyre Phillips, guess what? You're going to get a video. If the Raiders extend Darren Waller, shit, I think I might go live for that. At the end of the day, we're the #1 most watched Raiders show in the world for a reason. We keep you up to date. And remember, it's Go Raiders, real ones for life. Let me see you all down in the comments right now.